Hey guys, welcome back to Design with Amy, where we dive into the world of product design. In this channel, we talk about growing as a designer and also how to enhance your mental health for peak creativity. If you are interested in design, this will be a place that would help you to learn and grow. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this episode if you enjoy it. So today we're going to talk about design critiques. What is a design critique? So, a design critique is an evaluation process that designers have to do. It's a very important bit when you are working as a designer. In this process, you will sit with your clients or you will sit with the larger design team. There's different types of critiques. So there's an internal critique and there's the external one. Ideally, you would do the internal critique before you do the external one so that you get feedback from other designers, your product manager, and maybe other internal stakeholders like the owner of the company or the developers team, so that you get feedback from them, and then you make some changes and then you can show the final thing to the clients, and at that stage you'll also get feedback. So most of the time design critiques are extremely scary, especially when you are at the beginning of your career in design. Like, it's a bit scary to have to stand in front of people and like talk about your work and how you came about, having the solution that you're proposing, because most of the time design is creativity and you feel like people will be giving feedback on you as a person, but that's not what a design critique is about. Design critiques have specific goals and the feedback is often constructive, so don't worry. A design critique is actually meant to help you as a designer become better. So it should be a matter that you jog with time, as long as you learn how to give and receive feedback. I have created slides about how to give and receive feedback, and you can find them in the description box. So we're going to talk about a typical design crit, and this time we're going to focus on an external design crit. So how it happens is, you as the designer, you'll probably be, if you're the only designer working on this project, it will be better if you have a product manager with you so that you have someone who will take notes on your behalf. Or if you are really the only person there, then it would be best if you just leave comments on the if you're using Figma, you leave comments on your file. I believe like other design tools also have that feature that you can leave comment wherever there is an issue that needs to be addressed, which will make it easier for you to come back. But ideally, it's better if you are not the person who is presenting at the same time taking feedback. But either way, if that's the case, then it's better if you just present first and then you give room for questions. So typically, a design crit will have you as a designer, a product manager, and the client, whoever it is that is seeing the solution that you're provided. And as we talked about in our previous episode, there's a good way to present your work. So I'll just attach the video and you can watch there how to present your work to the client. But now this episode is going to focus on the feedback bit, how the critique will happen. So just like we talked about in the previous episode, when you start presenting your work, you need to give a summary, talk about the goal of the project, talk about the requirements that you were given, and also mention the goals of the design critique so that it's very clear what type of feedback you are expecting in this case. So if you don't mention like the type of feedback or the goal of the design critique, you may find people just talking about every random thing that doesn't really add to this meeting. So it's very important to define what is the goal of this design critique. For instance, maybe we are critiquing a specific feature, so kindly let's focus on this feature, and then after that, if there's any questions on the general product, we can give room for such questions. This will make sure that the design critique goes as smoothly as possible. So one, you want to specify the goal of the design critique, and then as you are presenting your work, you want to give a clear summary of the requirements and the goal of the project, then start presenting your work. So again, present your work in a prototype, because most of the time your client will want to see how the final thing will look rather than showing, screens or low fidelity screens. Even if it's high fidelity, it's better for it to be in a prototype, so that we can also just assess the flow of things and making sure that all the cases are catered for end to end. So after presenting, the most important bit is when now you are receiving feedback. So there's some clients will be quite personal with the giving feedback, that you may feel like you are being attacked. But it is very important for you as a designer to know how to separate yourself from your work and be very objective when you are receiving feedback. When someone mentions something, rather than you sticking to what it is that you wanted to achieve in how proud you are of your work, you want to assess like whether or not they made a valid point. Did they make a valid point? Yes, then cool. Take note of it, and then consider it. So one, when receiving feedback, you want to stay open-minded. Take a minute as you are receiving the feedback to really truly assess whatever the person giving feedback is saying. Is it fact? Is it backed by facts? Does it improve the user experience? Does it improve overall the solution that you are proposing? If it does, it is a good idea to consider the feedback. If it doesn't, either way, it's up to you as the designer to decide whether or not you will take this feedback into account. So you don't necessarily have to take everything that you receive, because some feedback is mostly like just design decision, like I wouldn't do it like this, but it's not really backed by any facts or any thing that would improve the overall experience for the end user. So it's up to you to select and see which feedback is valid or not. After you have received the feedback that you have received, or if you have any questions on the feedback that you are receiving, it's important for you to ask clarifying questions. You want to ensure that you understood exactly what the reviewer was trying to express. So it's very important for you to ask clarifying questions. If the point was a bit vague, you could ask, can you give me a use case that this could apply to, so that you can clearly see what they are trying to achieve. And always remember to go back to the objectives of the project. So if this still aligns with your objectives and what you're trying to achieve, then it's very important for you to get it as clear as possible. So remember to ask clarifying questions. 3, you want to prioritize your feedback. Not all feedback, as I mentioned, will be relevant to you. Some points are more affecting the objectives of your project, while some may just feel like decisions, and some of the design decisions that other people could suggest to you could improve the overall experience, which it would be nice for you to take into account. But some of them would can just be like, oh, it doesn't really affect the flow, or it doesn't really affect the experience of the product. So learn to prioritize your feedback. Which ones are the most important out of the feedback that I have received, and which ones can I can I just decide to not take into account because I think it does not really improve the project. It's very important for you to also separate yourself from the work when you are receiving feedback. Remember that the feedback is not about your creativity, but rather how to improve the project as a whole. So remember to separate yourself from your work and focus on the end goal and achieving your objectives in this project. Finally, look for patterns in the feedback that you receive. If multiple people are mentioning something, it means that this is important, so you need to consider it. So look for patterns in the feedback that you're receiving. If something is mentioned multiple times, make sure that you consider it. Even if something is mentioned once but it affects the user journey, or it gives you better clarity on what you're supposed to achieve, then it's very important to take that into account. So guys, that's how to go about a design critique and to receive feedback. And you can also address the feedback that is actionable. You can bounce back ideas to the clients or whoever is reviewing your work, so that you can just bounce back some ideas and see, what do you think about this? It may give you more clarity in what you are trying to achieve, because at the end of the day, you want what's best for the client and the user as a product designer. So guys, I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me in this episode. I hope it was helpful. I hope it will give you more confidence in going into your next design review. Don't take it as an interview that the end all be all. The point of it is to help you improve the solution that you are proposing, which is good for everyone. So don't forget the points that we've given, and see you next time, same place. If you liked what you've heard, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.